Welcome back to another episode of Buckeye Revival, presented by the Walk Foundation podcast. We'd first like to thank our sponsors who make this possible, Rock City Church, Emily Tapman with the Firm Foundation Company, and Jeremy Fraze with Union Home Mortgage. Where today we are so pleased to be joined by Jayden Fielding, but I first want to start this off with a bit of an intro for him. So Jayden Fielding, he is a senior kicker here at Ohio State. It's his third year starting as the kicker. He's from League City, Texas, where he played football and soccer at Clear Creek High School before transferring to IMG Academy for his senior year. He was a walk-on to Ohio State in 2022. And a little fun fact about him is that he scored 112 points for Ohio State last season on the national championship run. He's also Ohio State's leading scorer in the past two seasons, which is definitely a great accomplishment. Thanks so much for joining us, Jayden.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and so Jacob, you want to kind of kick us off with a bit of a game that we've been doing lately?
Yeah, let's do it. So this year with Buckeye Revival, we're going to play a game with each of our guests, and at the end of the year, whoever has the most points, the Walk Foundation is going to donate custom backpacks and Bibles to the community of the athlete's choice.
Awesome.
So last week we had Caleb Downs. He did a good job, and this week the theme is going to be on-campus Ohio State University traditions and landmarks. So
okay.
I'll ask you a series of questions. You've got 60 seconds to answer all of the questions. So we'll kick it off in 3, 2, 1. Historically, students jump into this lake the week leading up to the Michigan game. Correct. Since 1934, Buckeye football players earned this pendant for beating Michigan.
Gold pants.
Correct. Oldest Ohio State University marching band song sung by players, students, and fans following every game, win or lose.
Carmen, Ohio.
Correct. Each year, a Buckeye tree is planted for any Ohio State football player earning All-American honors. The Buckeye trees are referred to as?
Buckeye Grove.
Correct. The longest tradition in college band history, the incomparable?
Script, Ohio.
On it. The oldest building on Ohio State's campus, a dormitory, blank hall.
Skip.
Okay. Famous art building on campus, a cultural landmark on campus, blank center for the arts.
Skip.
The main library, blank library, known for its historic
Thompson.
architecture. Okay. We'll give him Thompson.
Okay, we'll give him Thompson. That's 6.
That's
he
6.
He tied Caleb from last week.
All right.
I should have skipped earlier.
We should have mentioned that he could skip that. He should skip it a little earlier, but it was okay.
I've never been to any of the dorms, so I don't know.
That's true. As an athlete, like the dorms are just kind of it's a different. It's just
a building that I walk by when I'm going to class.
No, that's so good. Well, hey, you did pretty well though. 6. You still tied Caleb.
Yeah.
So hey, that might still keep you in the running then for the end. So
Me and Caleb might have to have a tiebreaker.
there you go. You guys can kick a field goal for it. All right.
Yeah. Hope I win.
That sounds good. Awesome. Well, that was a good way to kick it off. And Jayden, let's just kind of kick it off with just kind of your story. So we kind of said earlier that you grew up in League City, Texas, which we know is kind of in the Houston greater area. Yeah. What's it like growing up in Texas?
It's fun. Everybody down there they're so humble and so nice, and religion's such a big thing down there. You know, you always go to church on Sundays, and you really get to grow within your church community, and it's really fun. And football is king. Football is king down there, and you don't play football, people kind of look at you sideways. So yeah, it's fun.
When did you start playing football?
When I was in 5th grade, I started kicking on my own. I really knew that from a young age that I wanted to be a kicker. Yeah, I had played soccer growing up, and my sister was the kicker for her middle school team, which is really funny. So I was like, she can do it, I can do it, right? Runs in the family. So started actually kicking for a team in 7th grade, and then kicked all the way through high school. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So when you first started kicking, did your sister give you some pointers?
No, I was trying to give her pointers. Because she had never really practiced it. I had been practicing for a little bit before that, but I didn't get to play yet. And, going to the field with her and my dad, my mom, it became kind of like a family affair, which was really, really cool. And we were out there for hours just kicking balls, and it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you were playing soccer and football.
Yeah.
Was there a time where you kind of knew, like, hey, football is truly going to be my path?
Yeah, you go to these recruiting camps around the country for kicking. I was pretty good at soccer. I played in the developmental academy for the Houston Dynamo, so I thought I had a path there too. Became a really tough decision for me when I went to a Chris Saylor kicking camp in Las Vegas. Did really well, became one of the top ranked kickers in the country, and people started giving me calls and started getting some looks from around the nation from colleges, and then I really had to make a decision for my senior year when I went to IMG. So I kind of had to give up soccer there and go all in on football. So yeah, it was a very tough decision.
What did you have to give up, transferring to IMG Academy? Like, what were some of the things that you had to leave behind?
Family, friends, community. The opportunity to spend that senior year. Everybody loves senior year of high school because it's your last go around with your friends that you've known since you were 5 or 6 years old, that you've grown up with. Spending time with family was really big for me to give up. I was very close to my family, still am. It was really hard, going away and having to kind of restart almost. You go and you make new friends, obviously, and those are some of my friends that I still talk to this day. I've met a great group of people over there, but giving up soccer actually was really, really hard for me because my mom will still tell you this. That's my first love, man. I loved soccer so much. All the work that I had put into that, and giving that up was really, really tough for me. So those are probably the 3 biggest things that I would say that I gave up, and I think it was worth it in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah, and so obviously that's a lot to leave behind, but you're like, okay, I want to go to IMG Academy. What were you pursuing by wanting to go there?
I wanted to play Division I football. I wanted to get a chance at the NFL, and I felt like at the high school that I was at, I wasn't really getting looks to go Division I. I had talked to one school, Houston Christian, which is really, really good academic school, but it wasn't really what I was looking for in terms of on-the-field performance and stuff like that. And, I just thought I'd take a chance, swing in the dark, and put all my faith that I had into it, and worked out. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of backtracking, you mentioned that you grew up going to church every Sunday. So what did your walk with the Lord look like in that period of growing up?
Well, I would go to church when I could. I had busy sports schedule. Playing football on Friday nights. I'd have soccer tournaments in Dallas on Saturday leading into Sunday afternoon. I do remember waking up when I could in the hotel rooms and watching Joel Osteen, he's a really prominent pastor in Houston. I remember that. We would always make it for Easter and Christmas and the important holidays. We'd cut out time. We'd go to those. But on the road, you're kind of left up to yourself to make sure that you include him in your life when you're always so busy. So it was always important to me for me to keep him in my life in some sort, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I'm thinking, so you head off to IMG and you're kind of living this, more of this college lifestyle there. Yeah. What is it even like just doing life at IMG Academy?
It's going from, I was 17, 16 when I moved out there. Going from living at home with your parents and them screaming at you to get off the couch and do some homework to living in a dorm by yourself, and you're 2,000 miles away from home and kind of just out there on your own. It's pretty surreal, but once you come to the realization of what you're doing and why you're doing it, it becomes worth it. And it's hard. I would call it Ohio State light, honestly. The classes are a little bit easier, not much. Still did a lot of schoolwork there. People don't think that, but we did. It really just became college. It was like, okay, this is your time. You have to grow up. This is where it all starts.
What were some of the hardest parts about being at IMG?
Missing family, for sure. Making new friends. Outside of football, because you can always have football friends. You'll always have your teammates, but you want to have people outside of football to talk to about anything. But, you always keep in contact. I still have a group chat with my best friends that I've played 7th grade basketball with. I mean, I talked to them this morning. We all get on FaceTime calls, and that's really good. That and adjusting to the schedule of waking up at 6 in the morning to go lift, and then you got practice right after, and then you got class after that. It really is a college schedule. And then traveling all the way across the country to go play high school games. It was a little weird, getting on flights and you're like, we're going to play a football game right now? Like, what's going on here,
Yeah, and because you said that your goal of going to IMG Academy was you wanted to play D1 football.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk us through the process of what it looked like for you when it came to your next steps of playing D1?
Yeah, I went to IMG, and they had a kicker the year before who had actually left to go back to his home high school because he had already committed to a college. So I went filling his role, hoping to get some of the exposure that he was getting because he was already committed to Oklahoma. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like, I got a chance to do the same thing he did. It was a crazy story. We actually were on the road. I was on the team that played Bishop Sycamore in Canton, Ohio. So we played Bishop Sycamore the week before, and we were going down to Cincinnati to play LaSalle. And I'm standing on the sideline. I think we were up like 42-0 or something at halftime. And I'm standing on the sideline, and my kicking net, we're in field goal range. I'm warming up. I'm getting ready. And we had Carnell Tate on our team. We all know who Carnell is. He's a very good football player. So, he always had national attention there. And there's this guy I didn't really know much about Ohio State football before coming here. I grew up in the South. Dad was a Texas fan. Not anymore, at least. But, growing up in the South, you really only know the SEC and, Texas teams because I'm from Texas. So didn't really know much about coaches from Ohio State. Really not much about the Big Ten in general. And I'm warming up in my kicking net, and there's this guy in a red pullover standing there. And I was like, hey, can you watch out? I don't want to hit you. And he goes, yeah, sure. What's your name? And it was Coach Day. And I didn't have an offer to anywhere at this point. And he asked me what my name was, and I told him, and he got in contact with our general manager at IMG, Don Zalotti, and exchanged phone numbers. And yeah, I ended up getting a walk-on offer not too long later, just by pure chance of him standing by my kicking net and basically bumping into him. It was a really crazy story. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Wow. So your walk-on opportunity, amid all the chaos with the Bishop Sycamore game,
Yep.
It happened at that game?
No, it happened at the LaSalle game in Cincinnati.
Game.
So it was, I think 5 days later, we played LaSalle in Cincinnati. And yeah, I was having a pretty good game, if I remember correctly. I had kicked a bunch of extra points, hit all touchbacks, and they were looking for a guy to come in and kick off because they didn't think they had one. So he asked who I was and kind of told him. It's really, really crazy. It was like, wow, that's wild. Like, it's something only God could do. Like, putting Coach Day there, watching probably the best game I had at IMG, and for me to bump into him and just kind of the exchange that happened was really surreal.
Man, it's so cool how God works and how he'll use moments like that to totally change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so you get that walk-on offer, and I'm sure you kind of had a decision to make, though, truly on like where you wanted to go. What was the decision-making process for you, and like how did you land on Ohio State?
So I was talking to my mom and my sister, and we're sitting there. I had offers, a walk-on offer to Florida State. I had a walk-on offer to Rutgers. I had a walk-on offer to Baylor and Texas State. I had one scholarship offer at a high school, and it was to Houston Christian. And I was talking to my parents. I was like, I don't want to make you guys pay for college. Like, I can't afford it. I don't want to take out student loans. It's not good for me in the long run. Like, I should just go play full scholarship at Houston Christian. And I vividly remember my mom and my sister saying, do you realize everything that you've given up just to get to this point? You've given up so much. Go big or don't go at all. You have to go for the biggest thing you can do. And out of all the big schools, Ohio State gave me the best chance to play my freshman year. So I did kickoffs my freshman year here, and it really catapulted me into showing Coach Day that a big part of being a kicker is, can you do it in the game? And I kicked pretty well in the games my freshman year on kickoffs, and started to build that trust that he has in me, and it was really, really awesome, to be honest. It was really cool.
Did you find yourself like you had these walk-on opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
Were you excited about that, or was that actually more of a disappointment of like, man, I actually didn't get any like D1 full ride scholarship offers?
It was a little disappointing, but with the time frame, I was coming out right as COVID years were kind of rolling in for players, so there weren't really many people that got full scholarships out of my kicking class. I think I was the number 4 or 5 ranked kicker in my class. I think maybe one guy out of my entire recruiting class got a scholarship, because these kickers, you kick until you can't kick here anymore. You got to stay for all your eligibility, because NFL teams, they want to see game reps, experience, all that sort of stuff. So, they try and stay as long as they can. So there were people getting 6th years, 7th years to kick and really taking up those scholarship spots. Because I remember talking to a couple schools, and they were telling me, yeah, we're going to have a scholarship open. And then the COVID thing came out, and you don't have a scholarship here anymore, which I was disappointed at first, but I loved the thrill of somebody doubting me. That's really what drives me at the end of the day, is like somebody telling me I can't do something. And that really propelled me to become better at what I do. And so I looked at it as an advantage of proving people wrong, even though maybe they didn't think that I couldn't kick. They just didn't have it to give it to me at the time. So
At Ohio State, did that walk-on opportunity eventually turn into a scholarship?
it did. I was put on scholarship in the spring of 23, which was really, really cool. That was an awesome phone call with my parents, be able to tell them that they don't have to pay for school anymore. And I think that was like the first time I had seen my dad, me, and my mom on the phone all crying, which was really, really cool. It was a special day.
Man, what a blessing that is, man. And truly a testament to God's faithfulness, man, in your life, truly.
Yeah.
Because you kind of took a leap of faith, right? And as you said, like you kind of go big or go home.
Yep.
And to see kind of how that progressed for you is just amazing.
Exactly.
So you go in your freshman year though, and you're right, you're doing kickoffs, and then now at this point you've been starting kicker for 3 years, kicking the field goals. Let's just say being the kicker at Ohio State comes with a lot.
Yeah, it does.
How has it been handling the pressure of being the kicker at Ohio State?
The only way that I know that somebody can deal with it is putting all your faith in God. It's the only way. That's like my mom will ask me. She'll be like, "Hey, like, you feeling okay?" Like, she'll call me. She's stressed out. Like for the Texas game, she's like, "How are you dealing with this?" Like, I'm stressed out. Like, everybody's talking about it. Like, are you gonna be okay? I'm like, Mom, at this point, it is what it is. I've practiced as much as I can practice. I just leave it up to God, and you just got to pray on it. And there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of outside noise, as Coach Day likes to call it. People will say not nice things, but you can't pay attention to that, because all you can do is what you can control and leave the rest up to God.
What do those prayers look like for you? And what could you describe the peace, like that peaceful feeling that you're describing to us now?
I get really anxious the night before games, and the specialists, me, John Furlman, Joe McGuire, we've all started kind of a tradition. They're Catholic, I'm not, but I still participate. They say the rosary the night before games, and we'll all come into one room, and we'll say the rosary, and then we'll say individual prayers together the night before games. We've actually had Jack did it with us in the playoffs, Jack Sawyer. Will Howard's been in there before. G. Scott's been in there before. And it really helps me calm me down, because when you're amped up for a game, you're a little anxious, you got butterflies, you can't really sleep. So it really helps calm me down to go to sleep. And then I always bring a daily devotional book with me on game days. And there's a devotional for each day, morning and night. And I usually read that first thing in the morning before games, and kind of calms me down again. And then we always pray before we leave the locker room. the specialist, and then we pray as a team. There's a lot of prayer going on game day, if you can't tell. It's very, very cool. It's very at peace feeling, because if you have faith in God, God will have faith in you. And if you have faith in God, you ultimately have faith in yourself and your teammates. And it's a very, very peaceful feeling. It's awesome. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
And you've kind of been just really in the scene on kind of just the faith movement that's been happening on Ohio State. What's it been like even just to see kind of how God's been moving within your teammates and yourself and just the program in general?
Awesome. It's been the coolest thing that's happened to me here. Winning the national championship's awesome, but seeing the faith go through the team and inspire people. I mean, Trey and G were such big, contributors to it. It was awesome to see. They really got me involved, especially after having a rough game against Team Up North this past year. They really, really leaned into me and brought me to Bible studies, and it was very, very cool to see that they had my back and to know that God's always there too. Even in the highs and the lows, he's always there. And he's somebody that you can lean on. And Trey and G kind of taught me that. And it was really, really cool to see how Trey transformed almost his entire life around God. It was awesome to see. I love to see it. It's cool. Trey's a great guy, and he deserves it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the team Bible studies. What did that experience look like for you?
I usually go to the Sunday ones. We have one every Sunday. We call it Reflection, but it's really Bible study. It's really cool. Caleb's dad actually did the Bible study this past Sunday. It's really cool. You get to sit in there and you get to hear about his kind of story, walking through his faith in life, and see how it's played out on his life. You get to hear his story, and he talks about how God has influenced him. Or we'll have Roy Hall will come in pretty often. He's really, really good speaker about Jesus and about faith. It's really awesome to hear him speak. And you can take notes, or you can just listen and just kind of let it flow into you. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and so something that maybe a lot of the fans maybe don't know about was like last season when you got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so you tore a muscle in your kicking leg,
Yep.
and that was something you struggled with all year.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
Painful. It was really painful. There was some days where I couldn't even walk correctly. I was limping down the hall to my apartment just to lay on the couch all day, just because I couldn't really move my leg the correct way. And a lot of Advil, a lot of painkillers to get out there and play. And I just know that my team needed me and my brothers needed me, so I was there for them. I did everything I could, but it was a struggle. It hurt a lot, but healthy now, so that's the good thing.
Yeah, so during the course of the year, both with the team kind of having some ups and downs, then you personally having some ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
how did you navigate that?
Through faith, man. It's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
The prayers before games and stuff like that. Obviously, there's going to be highs and lows of emotion when you go through what we went through last year. But you really just have to invest in your faith. Coach Day says this all the time: invest in your faith, family, and friends, and that's the way that you can create balance in your life. And it's really, really cool to see how true that is. Because for a long time, you're a freshman. I had always had God in my life, but you don't really realize what he's doing for you until you take a step back after you've been knocked down. And you truly see how he works, and you truly see how he moves through your life and creates opportunities. Somebody asks for patience. He's not going to give this person patience. He's going to give you an opportunity to be patient. So kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that aspect of it. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and so through the ups and downs, and you obviously you're dealing with the injury, and you're make a ton of kicks, miss some kicks, and then the playoff kind of rolls around, and you just go on a tear personally.
Mm-hmm.
What changed for you in the playoffs? Where just you were making everything.
Yeah, you kind of realize that if you don't do everything if I didn't do everything right, I wouldn't be able to get to do what I love anymore and get to be around the people that I love anymore and get to experience this place. So there's different kind of fire lit in you is what I would say. I just came to work every day, just determined I would not lose. And for me, losing is missing a kick, right? So in my mind, if I go 5 for 6 and we win the game 15-14, I still lost. I missed a kick. I didn't do my job. So that was really tough to overcome what had happened previously. But having faith, having the guys around me, I can't say enough about Jack, JT, Trey, G, those guys always having my back, always being there for me, really just motivating me and having my back always was awesome. It inspired me to be a better person and a better teammate just because of how they treated me when I was at the lowest of my lows, honestly.
Legacy is probably the wrong word in this situation, but as far as their involvement last year and everything that those guys poured into the team, how has that had an impact on the team this year?
We're following in their footsteps this year. We all still, when I first got here, nobody really talked about faith, but now everybody's open about it. And we talk about it all the time, about how faith, you can win a national championship, but if you don't have faith, what does it really mean? If you don't have faith in one another and you don't have faith in God, what does it mean to you, really? Because our triumphs, we all equated back to our having our faith in God and that we were on the path that he laid for us to go through all the trials and tribulations that we did to get to that end point and be able to celebrate as a family. Because that's what we became. We became a family. And so trying to follow in those footsteps and really come closer to one another and closer to God through each other is kind of the legacy that they left behind.
So I got to ask, you mentioned the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
You made the game-winning field goal in the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
What's that feeling like?
Euphoria. It felt like I had the weight of 1,000 worlds lifted off my shoulders, because you can say you don't hear what's going on outside in the outside world, outside the Woody. You can feel it though, but you can feel the pressure building. You can feel the game kind of turning on its head almost. They started to come back. They put together some good drives. We were already up 31-7, I think, and they started to come back. You could feel the pressure mounting. You could feel as a kicker, it's almost like a weird feeling. You're like, I have a feeling I'm going to have to do something here. Like, you get called in as the closer in the MLB is the closest comparison that I can give you to walking out on the field and there being, 40 seconds left on the clock, and you got to make this kick to seal it. It was euphoric. I was in tears as soon as I ran off the field, because everything that had happened that year, all the things that we went through, and to be able to come through for those guys that stuck by me when I was at my lowest was really, really cool.
As you were heading out onto the field to make that kick,
Mm-hmm.
what was going through your head?
I was praying. I really was. I think there was a timeout. We called a timeout right before I went out for the field goal, and I said a quick prayer, and then I was just trying to keep myself calm, doing my breathing exercises. Coach Day came up to me and just said, "Hey, don't get it blocked," which is really funny. But he also said, "You do this every day in practice," and so makes you think. I do this every day. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is where I'm meant to be. All the things that had gone on previously that year in my life to lead up to this point was only by strict faith, strict chance. It was a leap of faith that I took in high school to lead me all the way up to this point. And after it, you kind of think about it. You're like, wow, that really just happened. And to think that all of it started with a leap of faith of leaving everything that I knew to go all the way across the country to end up in that spot with that goal on the line that we'd always worked for. Because I've been here since 2022. We lost in the Peach Bowl my freshman year, and that was heartbreaking. But to know that the journey was worth it in the end was so cool. It was awesome.
Yeah, because I just keep thinking about what a way to look back on your life and look back at all the moments that have led to you, because most people would say like that is the, even people think about kicking the game-winning kick at a national championship is like the pinnacle of life.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is like life goes on. Like
Mm-hmm.
life goes on, and you got a whole nother year at Ohio State. You're a child of God, and you're just going to keep moving forward, and you got so many other things ahead of, like, in a lot of ways, I feel like the national championship is like super fulfilling,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, it's like, all right, now we got to I got to get back to business.
Exactly.
What's that like?
It's like what Scotty Scheffler said. There's like 13 seconds of like, oh my gosh, we did it, like absolute euphoria. And then it goes, all right, back to work next week, which you have 6 months for the national championship game, but it doesn't feel like that because 2 weeks later you're back in the weight room with Coach Mick and you're lifting up for the next season. And, it's kind of one of those moments that you always dream about that you think will last forever, but it doesn't. Life keeps moving on, and so do you. So, you kind of got it almost felt fake. And when people still ask me about it, I tell them there's nothing different. It doesn't feel like we won the national championship. It felt like we just won another game. And it was fulfilling in the moment. But, you got to go back to work and you got to keep pushing forward and got to keep doing all the habits and praying and stuff like that got you there in the first place. So it's honestly good to know that those things don't last forever.
Has that changed your perspective as far as your goals for this year?
I would say no, it hasn't, because there was always a piece of me that would think that, right? Because I played in soccer tournaments before. We've won soccer tournaments, and then next weekend we're back at another soccer tournament. You got to win again. But my goals for this year are, grow close with teammates, keep building my faith with God, and hopefully get a chance at the NFL. So.
That's awesome. I just wanted to kind of add that it's so cool that, even though you have a super high moment like that with the national championship, it's like God still has so many great things ahead for you. And that is not, that's not the end of your story, right? And it's not in anybody's story. That's super exciting. So, now we're like, as we mentioned, we're in the 2025 season, and hey, I mean, you just come off a win against Texas. Like, that's awesome. Can you give me a little reflection on just that game and starting out 1-0?
Yeah, there was a lot of hype building up into that game. Coach Day has been building it up to us for quite a while, practiced the whole fall camp, and even in August, like early August, early July, has been super intense leading up to that game because we knew we had to be at our best to win that game. It felt like another playoff game, which is a really cool feeling early in the season. I think last year we opened up. Who did we open up? We opened with somebody.
Akron?
Yeah, we opened up with Akron. Akron's not really the same feeling, no offense to Akron, compared to the number one team. It was awesome. It was so fun to see all the fans out there at the shoe, getting it loud, getting it rocking. We always need Buckeye Nation out there supporting us. It was a really cool experience, I was so happy for Jermaine, Sonny, those guys. They had crazy games. They deserved it. They worked super, super hard every day. It's awesome to get to see them put it on the field and, for everybody else to see it too.
What was the locker room like after the Texas win?
I think we were playing the Big X to Plug song, Texas, which was really funny because I think we have 5 or 6 guys that are from Texas. It was cool. It was a really good experience. We always pray after games too. So you pray before, you pray after, no matter win, loss, whatever it is, you always pray before and after. That was awesome. But the feeling of, I don't want to say overcoming it, but defeating them and stepping past that block in the road was really cool to see, especially for Coach Day. I love that man. He gave me the opportunity to be here. I owe a lot to him. He pushes me to be better every day. And to see him have that weight lifted off his shoulders and see it go out the right way was really good.
According to my research, you kicked your 102nd straight extra point consecutively. Do you think about the streak that you have?
No, not until you mentioned it. But no, I hit those every day in practice. So it's just got to go out there and do your job. It's nothing really going through your mind other than just do your job. Boys need you. Got to go do it.
What does a practice look like for a kicker versus the other position groups?
Oh, the other guys don't like it very much when they see the kickers at practice. So we'll usually, when they're in meetings, right, we don't have to go to offense, defense meetings. So we're just hanging out in the locker room until probably 40 minutes before they get out there. We'll go out there, warm up, because we need more space on the field to hit kicks and stuff. We'll go out there 40 minutes before they get out there. We'll go through flex with them, which is our warm-up routine. And then we'll have, like, period one will be field goal. And we hit, we'll probably go 13 kicks. I usually get 7. The other guy will get 6. And then we'll go through and once we're done with that, we help out the other guys. So once we're done with that, we usually go off to the side to our own field, and then we'll kick a little bit more if we need to. And then we'll do 7-on-7. If you've ever seen like a 7-on-7 clip from practice, we're usually standing there with our hands up trying to distract the quarterback, which is really fun because you can scream at them and you can get in their head, and it's a fun time. But we do that. We'll do like kickoff return stuff, so we'll hit the ball to the guys and let them return it so they can catch live kicks. But other than that first period, man, we don't really do much. So you'll see the D-line kind of yelling at us sometimes, like, do something. And we're just kind of standing over there drinking water and waiting for our opportunity to go do something. So, yeah, it's much more laid back. And other than that first period where Coach Jay's he's trying to get in your head. He's yelling at you a little bit, trying to simulate crowd noise with his own words. So other than that first period, it's super intense for 20 minutes, and then it's very, very relaxed for the rest of the time.
Has there ever been a time where the team needed you to make a kick in practice for some sort of reward or something?
Yeah, I do remember there's been a couple times. I remember my freshman year, our starting kicker, Noah, was out sick that day, and we had field goal. So I was kicking all the field goals because I was the only other kicker on the roster, and we were going to get a new pair of shoes if I made this kick. And Coach Jay called me out at the end of practice. I haven't kicked in 30 minutes. It's like a 55-yard field goal. And he goes, if he makes this kick, everybody gets these shoes. And he holds up a pair of shoes. And I'm like, oh, gosh, like, why are you doing this to me? And I ended up making it. That was really cool. My favorite one has to be last fall camp. We were doing punishments. So it wasn't a punishment. It's a finisher for practice, making sure we're all in shape. And O-line doesn't really like to run. D-line doesn't really like to run. I know they like to stay rested for the games. I'll put it nicely. But we were doing a finisher where I had to make 5 kicks in a row, going all the way back to 50 yards. And if I missed one in between any of the 5, we had to run a gasser. So we're going through. I think I get to the 3rd kick. I miss. We run a gasser. Then the pressure starts to get to you because everybody's kind of mad at you. Why'd you miss? You made us run. And then I ended up going 5 for 5 all the way back to 50 the next time, and everybody's pretty happy about getting to go home early that day. So that was cool. Yeah.
So your teammates must really like your clutch abilities.
Sometimes. Yeah. Depends on which side of the punishment they're on. Sometimes it'll be if offense wins. I'm always on the offense because I'm scoring points. Offense wins, they don't have to run. Defense loses, they have to run. So sometimes defense is hoping I miss, but I just try and do my job.
Want us to go through some fan questions? I can do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So we asked a few of our fans on Instagram, or we asked a few of your fans on Instagram, and they had a few questions they wanted to ask you. So
okay.
I'll kick it off with I got 3 here for you. And so the first one is from Jess. Jess asks, how does it make you feel when the other team calls a timeout to ice the kicker?
It doesn't really affect me that much. It's kind of annoying, honestly. It's annoying more than anything because it's like, I just want to get out there and kick it already, but you can't let it affect you. So you kind of just you go through the routine that you would normally do on the sideline before they've called the timeout or before you would go out there on 4th down is what I do. I go hit a ball into the net and then go through my routine. I have a routine with our special teams assistant, Gunnar Daniel. Shake his hand, look him in the eye, tell him, let's do this thing, walk back out there. It's kind of the same thing. It's a really boring answer, but it is.
Hey, that's a good answer. And so we got a question from Oliver as well, who asks, what is your earliest Buckeye memory?
Oh. Buckeye Nation won't like this one, but no, they will. I love the Cowboys. I love the Dallas Cowboys. I grew up, my car outside has a Dallas Cowboys license plate holder on it. Love them. Love them. That's the reason why I got that color car too. Love the Cowboys. Used to have fat heads of Tony Romo, Jason Witten, DeMarcus Ware up in my room. Like, huge fan. And I remember we drafted Zeke when I was probably 12. And I loved Ezekiel Elliott. And I remember watching him in the Oregon-Ohio State 2014 National Championship game. And then we drafted him, and I'd been a fan of Ezekiel Elliott ever since. So he's not only my favorite Buckeye of all time, he is my first Buckeye memory of all time.
That's awesome.
Great. That's it for the questions.
I don't know kicking that much. I know golf.
Yeah.
Do you have, is there like a natural left to right or right to left movement that you prefer?
I would rather have right to left because I can feel like I can control my draw more than I can control a fade, which sounds really funny, but going into playing at the shoe is not easy either. The wind kind of swirls in that place. If you look up at the flags next time you're at a game, you'll see the flags will be pointing one way, but the flags on the uprights are pointing the opposite way. So it's kind of hard to know. And I'd rather control my draw than a fade because I feel like a fade gets taken by the wind a lot more than a draw. So, yeah.
So you prefer the right hash if you had to pick?
I would tell you I prefer the right hash.
Okay.
But my numbers in practice say I prefer my left hash better.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of crazy because I think I was like 97% on the left hash and like 89% on the right hash in fall camp this year, which is really funny. But in my head, I would tell you I like the right hash better. So,
what role do analytics play in kicking?
huge. They're everything. They're who decides to goes on the field. That's how we use it. So, whoever has the best numbers in fall camp is the one that plays, and that's kind of how it goes. So, they're huge. They're everything, especially late game scenario. Like last year, my numbers on the right hash were higher than the left hash. So if you saw in the national championship game, we actually ran a run play to the right side to set up that field goal at the end of the game. It's because my field goal numbers in practice and in the game were higher on the right hash last year. So, which is cool. So they use it for a lot of decision making and stuff like that. It's awesome.
What advice would you give to some young kickers who maybe want to play in college or try to pursue being a kicker in the NFL?
Stay humble and stay hungry. We live in a world, especially in the football world, it's what have you done for me lately? It's not what you've done for me the entire time. It's what have you done for me lately? So whatever you did yesterday, doesn't matter. You got to do it again today. Consistency is the main thing that will separate you from Division I to Division II to being an NFL starter, right? Whoever's the most consistent will be the one that's there. And that's something I struggled with for a long time. And until you realize that you got to kind of just keep going and never give up and be relentless in your pursuit of consistency and pursuit of perfection at what you do, then that's when you truly get to see yourself grow.
Good. I got a couple more questions here.
Okay.
One is, what's the bond like within the special teams group?
Oh, we're so close. I mean, those guys, we have 7 specialists this year. Last year we had 11, but you're around those guys essentially 24/7 during the season. I mean, we're there from noon till 8 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, and then Friday you're there with them all day until you go to sleep. Saturday you're there with them all day. Sunday you're there with them all day. So you're around those guys 24/7. You're in meetings together all the time. We're super, super close. It's really, really cool.
It's awesome. And just to kind of land the plane on this episode, if anybody's maybe listening to this episode and maybe they're just interested in taking maybe a next step in their faith or just really want to get to know this Jesus guy, like what encouragement would you give somebody?
He can change your life for the better. Doesn't matter what situation you're in. He will lead you in the right path to change your life for the betterment of it. But he won't give it to you. You have to follow in his steps, and you have to make the choices intentionally to better your life, but he will guide you in that direction.
Amen. Amen. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Jayden. We really appreciate you coming on the Walk podcast and Buckeye Revival, and may the Lord bless you, man, you and your future.
Same to you. Thanks for having me.
If you were moved by this podcast, we would love to hear from you. Leave us a comment down below, message us on Instagram or Facebook, or even email us at info@thewalkfoundation.org. If you're in Ohio and looking for a church, Rock City would love to welcome you to one of their 9 or 11 a.m. services. And if you're interested, please click the link below in the description to learn more about Rock City Church. And thanks again to our sponsors, Emily Tapman with the Firm Foundation Company and Jeremy Fraze with Union Home Mortgage.